So hi, good afternoon. कुछ लोग कहाँ गायब थे? 3 बैचेस मिले थे तो भी इतने ही लोग थे. एंड नाउ 2 बैचेस आर देयर स्टिल. कल से कितने लोग गायब होने वाले वो पहले ही बता दो. ओके, एक दिन के लिए कुछ नया मटेरियल नहीं मिलने वाला है कि आज आ गए हो. घर रहना चाहिए था. सो चलो. देखो, मूवी नहीं चल रही है, तुमको लेकर चले. So once again, chalo, good afternoon. And so the new topic and one of the important topic, so culture. So I know that near about 15-20 people are here only for today. कल से नहीं आओगे, ठीक है? तो so basically, ठीक है? If your numbers are going down tomorrow, नहीं कल तो है नहीं क्लास ना वैसे भी, ठीक है? तो we'll see and then the old batch will get combined with you. 9, ठीक है? कुछ लोग दुखी भी होंगे क्योंकि 9 के साथ अच्छा रिश्ता हो गया था 10 के साथ. तो कोई बात नहीं, हो सकता है फिर वापस मुलाकात हो जाए. जरूरी है हाँ, तुम्हारे लिए तो बहुत. सो आर्ट एंड कल्चर. So total, now listen. So total 15 classes has been allocated for this particular purpose. And in these 15 classes, what all things we'll be studying. So we'll go into the details of it. But then the very first part of the class is all about the discussion related to the culture, that what all things are there, what is the definition, what is your understanding, what is the importance of this particular subject in the exam. And a little bit of trend analysis also. So earlier, I don't know that I have done it or not. Particularly modern का थोड़ा बहुत हमने trend analysis किया था, but not about the culture. So once again, I will repeat that part, that how many questions have been asked in last 10, 11 years, then in pre and in mains, and then moreover importance of the subject overall. So let's start with it. Then so first and the foremost thing is obviously your understanding of culture. Okay? So it must come from your side, that what you understand, that what you consider is a culture. So you participate, you tell me that what is your understanding of culture. Good, ठीक है? So traditions, way of life that we follow from long time becomes the culture, ठीक है? Then there are many negative externalities in the life processes. Do we consider that also as a part of culture? ठीक है? So do we consider, I'm asking, that do we consider that as also a part of the culture? Not necessarily, ठीक है? So it's only that the things which we are continuing from long time, which has a social sanctity, then it becomes the part of the culture. But then, chalo, it's a very easy definition that what is culture. As he said, in a simple word, you can say that it is way of life. Then, and way of life includes so many things, as you guys mentioned, that it is traditions, customs, belief, fairs, festivals, language, literature, every aspect of our life, and there is a mark of the culture. So overall culture is considered as identity of a person. Then, so it is an identity of a person, and in fact it is very closer to the heart of the people, that the culture. Then, so in fact many a times we do see that there are confrontations, there are some clashes because of the disrespect towards the culture. So culture is a sensitive subject also, very sensitive subject also, and one has always to be very cautious while dealing with the things and the aspects of the culture. So now let's come to the second question, is basically that why it is important for you as an administrator to study culture. So what is that importance of the culture? And जैसे कोई भी services में जाओ, in any of the services, all India services, or basically that those services which that foreign services, so any of the services which are under this particular exam. So what is the importance of this particular subject, not subject, the culture? बताओ, टू कनेक्ट विद द पीपल, ठीक है, ठीक है, बिहेवियर, लाइफस्टाइल, एनी अदर आंसर? Why rest of the people are silent? Yep. थोड़ा तेज बोलो. Hmm. ठीक है. So what he's saying that see, you are going to be at the end of the day, whatever be your services, you are a policy maker. ठीक है. You will be a policy maker. In reality, that whatever policies government comes up with, so that's all created by the civil servants only. And when civil servants are called as the steel frame of the country or steel frame of the bureaucracy, so it means that they are the one who are the policy makers. So when you are going to create the policies, you must have a better understanding of the culture. Then, so better understanding of the culture, so that if any policy that you are proposing, then so it must not hurt the sentiments of the people, then it must not hurt any such aspects of the culture, so it will have a mass appeal, then and then it will have a mass appeal, and then accordingly it will be accepted in the society. So it is very important for you to understand the culture. Even a slightest of the mistake in the cultural aspect can go haywire. Then, so let's go with the examples as far as the importance of the culture is concerned. Then, so there are n number of the examples, and I'll be using all of it. Then, so all the examples. So let's start with the. I hope many of you, most of you, must have heard about this festival, which was celebrated in Tamil Nadu. Celebrated in, okay? So Tamil Nadu. So now, अब देखो पहले ही wording से people have started asking about the book, ठीक है? So I would not suggest any book for this subject. अब क्लास बंद करना हो तो बंद कर लो, या घर जाना हो तो चले जाओ, ठीक है? So सिर्फ किताब पूछने आए हो तो. So जल्लीकट्टू, ठीक है? So this is a festival which is celebrated in the Tamil Nadu, state of Tamil Nadu, and from very long time. बहुत लंबे समय से is historically it can be said that it is celebrated from more than 600-700 years. Then, so ancient festival, and what is the process in the festival? That in this particular festival, what happens that one bull, ठीक है? So one bull, he is forced, ठीक है? So bull is forced to pass through a narrow passage, ठीक है? So very narrow passage, so that when the bull is passing through it, so then it gets roughed with the walls of the, ठीक है, that particular passage. When it gets roughed with the walls of the narrow passage, so then it gets irritated, and it becomes angry, aggressive. After, when it becomes aggressive, so in front of the bull, whoever is there, it tries to attack, okay? And the fight ensues between the person who is in front of the bull and then also the bull. So it continues, and it's a kind of a game in which that the person will have to defeat the bull. So this festival is historical, but then what happened? You know, we live in the age of the activist. Then when you don't get any employment, so you have an employment, you become activist. Then, so there were some activists who filed the case in the court then, and the case reached to the highest court also. And what was the judgment of the highest court? That it was a cruelty against the animals. Then, so cruelty against the animals, and as such, this festival needs to be banned. Then, so then, festival needs to be banned. It's a blanket decision, okay? That one blanket decision by the highest court, and then obviously there were reactions from the society. So reactions from the society that nobody liked it, and in fact in Tamil society, even the most popular of the people, okay, from the Tamil industry, film industry also, political industry also, everyone, whoever you can think of that biggest name from the film industry, they also criticized this particular decision, that there must not have been this one blanket ban decision. There must have been something else in the decision, that find the alternative ways to irritate the bull, okay? Not this way. So they must have given some sort of other alternative ways of that going ahead with this festival, rather than banning this festival. So this was not liked. So now what happened? People did not accept the decision of the highest court. Then, so this is what happens, that when anything goes against the elements of the culture, so even if it comes from the epitome of the justice, that justice will not prevail. I hope you are getting it. Then Accordingly, ठीक है, there was a hell lot of cacophony on the issue of the Sabrimala. You all have heard about Sabrimala then. So who is the deity of the Sabrimala? Ayappa, ठीक है, Lord Ayappa. And Lord Ayappa is the son of Shiva and very good, exactly, ठीक है. So he is the son of Lord Shiva and Vishnu as per the Hindu mythology. Then, so no feminine is responsible for the birth of the Lord Ayappa. Then, so Lord Ayappa is considered as a brahmachari. Then, so brahmachari you all know, okay? And he is a brahmachari god. So then brahmachari god, and there are some tenets which are laid down as per the life of the Ayappa. So as per the life of the Ayappa, whatever be the case, okay? Don't go into the rational thing, but in that particular temple, in a certain phase, a woman cannot enter inside the temple. Okay? And in a certain bodily phase, he cannot enter inside the temple. But then, that's not true for the other areas. Okay? That's not true for the other temples. It's only in the one temple. But then there was a hell lot of activism, hue and cry over it. And then the cases were filed. And in fact, people who are not even religious, then that they are not religious bent, they have no religious mind, they are not the theistic people, even they are just trying to do the things opposite to the religious belief just to break whatever tradition which is there in the Ayappa temple. So that itself was highly contested by the believers then. So this is also one bone of contention. So culture is a sensitive issue. Then apart from it, India ko bhul jao, okay? Let's talk about any country in the world. Then, so any country in the world, and then every country tries to preserve its own identity. So let's talk about Tibet itself. China claims Tibet as itself. But then when it comes to the cultural practices of the Tibet, then it's very different from the entire Chinese population. Then it has Buddhism and they have different culture, they have different ways of living. So China claims it, then, but Tibet tries to preserve its identity on the basis of culture. Similarly, there is a province in the China, you all know about Uyghur. Then, and Uyghur has that it's a Muslim majority area, then now it's no more, unfortunate, then, and those unique practices of the Muslims in the Uyghur area, now it has been totally dominated by the Chinese pervasion. Then, so now, that is also a fight of the culture. Then apart from it, there is a fight of the culture at many places. Look at the Middle East then. And in Middle East, the entire Middle East has been divided on the two factions, Shia and Sunni. Okay? So Shia and Sunni tradition, there might be an olive branch situation at this point of time, but that it's not always. Then, so Shia and Sunni fights are there. And in fact, many of the countries which are considered, not many, you just look at the Syria. Then, so which was considered as this cradle of the civilization, now it is in a very bad situation. Then it's a very bad situation because the rulers are of the which faith? Shia faith. Then, and then after that, Sunni world does not likes a bonhomie with the Syria. So anyways, you just look at it. So when you look at many countries in the world, there are some cultural fights. Then, so culture is a sensitive issue. Then, so one has to be very careful regarding it. Let's come to India. So in India, so there are some examples which I would like to quote. And this example I'm quoting from very long time. I think this is very relevant. That's why I'm quoting from very long time. Now it has become very, I would say that कि बहुत general हो चुका है. इतनी videos मेरी leak हो चुकी हैं. ठीक है? So, जितनी दीपिका की नहीं हुई होंगी. ठीक है? चलो, so now listen. So, ओहो, मजा आ गया. चलो, so listen, अभी ये मत बोलना कहाँ चलो, ठीक है? क्लास के लास्ट दिन चलेंगे चाय पीने, ठीक है? तुम्हारे पैसे से. चाय ही पीता हूं, ठीक है? और कुछ नहीं पीता हूं. So now listen. So in Indian case, I go ahead with one example in 2001, and it is, I think it is 25th or 26th of January 2001, and that's the time when there was a very severe earthquake in Gujarat. Then, so Bhuj Anjar area. So Bhuj Anjar is the upper part of the Gujarat. Then Bhuj, I hope many of you must be knowing. Okay? So Bhuj Anjar fault line got created. Geography में भी पढ़ा होगा, and that fault line led to the earthquake, which in our memory was the most severe earthquake. ठीक है? So most severe. उसके पहले 1992 में there was one earthquake in Latur, then in Maharashtra, and you must have heard in geography or studied in geography there was a dam, Koyna. ठीक है? So dam induced fault line got created, and then it further developed into a very severe phenomenon. So in Gujarat also what happened that immediately within a week only the news was that more than 30,000 people are dead. Then so obviously 2001 India then was not similar to the India which we see in 2024 then. So it was very different, and economically we were also not in a very good condition. The reason is that we were going through many bans then, many economic bans, many trade and commerce ban. Then the reason was the nuclear test which was done in 1998. Okay? So India performed that nuclear Pokhran Parmanu Parikshad. Okay? And similarly Pakistan also did. So both the countries were going through so many bans. Then and then economic situation was not that good. But then somehow the leadership of that time, they tried to melt the ice between India and the Western world. And the leadership in India, Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister of India. And on the other hand, US President was Bill Clinton. So they had a very good personal chemistry. And then because of this personal chemistry, good things were happening between India and Bill Clinton. Okay? India and US then. So it was actually the new relationship between India and US started to develop from 2000s only. Okay? Because of these two leaders then. And the benefit of that we reaped in 2007 when the nuclear deal happened. Then, so ऐसा नहीं है कि ये ओवरनाइट चीजें होती हैं, लॉन्ग ड्रॉन प्रोसेस है. So at this point of time when India faced this earthquake, we needed the support of the people, we needed the support of the countries, and we were open to get the support. Then so US was one of the biggest aid provider to India. Then so it all started. And what people need in an earthquake situation, घर सबके खत्म हो चुके हैं, and their nears and dear ones are dead. So in this situation what they need, that residences, ठीक है, और temporary residences, camps, ठीक है. So camps, food, water, ठीक है, basic needs, then medicine. So these are the things that they need. Initially the people were demanding for it, but then what happened after 10 days or so, people started, rather than demanding these basic necessities of the life, people who have lost their near and dear ones, now they are participating in a march against US. Then protest and movement started against US. Then even the banners and the flags and everything were there against the US. Then boycott US and these all things started. The reason was that it was not initiated by any political party of India, that the ruling party must not get the support. It was actually initiated by the people itself. The reason is that Bhuj Anjar area. So as far as the culture of this area is concerned, it is a Vaishnav area. Vaishnav, you understand? Vaishnav means that those who are involved in the Vishnu Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti. Then, so when you talk about the Krishna Bhakti, Vishnu Bhakti, so in Bhagavatism or Vaishnavism, non-veg is not preferred. Then, so those who accept Vaishnavism, they don't eat non-veg. And moreover, so this entire area was basically that more than 80% of the people, they are vegetarians then, and core vegetarians. But here what was happening? The food packets which were delivered by the US choppers, then they had non-vegetarian food. And moreover, non-vegetarian maybe it had beef. See, it could not be sensitive to some other people, okay? But the people who are basically vegetarians, for them it was very sensitive, and it seemed maybe it would have been any other non-veg food like that chicken or mutton or something. So then maybe people must not have got that, they must not have felt that ki ye zyada bura hai. But then this particular thing was very they felt that it is a kind of a encroach on their culture. So that's how the Protestant movement started. But now understand whose fault was this, that why was US doing it deliberately? Obviously no, they also wanted their relationship from India to improve, and then they deliberately did not did it. So the fault was on the part of the understanding of the culture and from the side of the both. Okay? So India side also and US side also. It is the responsibility of the US foreign officials and so as the Indian foreign officials to inform them that what is the particular culture of that particular area, and they also needed to learn it, that when they are going into the food, so food is a very sensitive issue. Okay? So they must be very careful about it, and they were not careful about it. So that's how the things started to went out of the hand. Then finally, okay, this was conveyed and everything stopped, and it took a little bit of time. So this is the very first example from here. The second example I quote from a little bit back. 1997 and Bihar. Then, so as you know that Bihar is was known for, nowadays also it is known for, that things have changed, but still some places situation is similar. The flood state of India. Then, so flood state of India because there is no natural control over here. So the river Kosi and the 7 branches of Kosi are considered as the sorrow of Bihar. उसके अलावा, ठीक है, there is a one more big danger in Bihar, that is Gandak, ठीक है. So Gandak, which becomes Narayani after some point of time. So there are 2 rivers, Choti Gandak, Badi Gandak. When they meet, so they become Narayani. And then this is the river which is known for the meandering tendency. You must have studied, ठीक है. Meandering तो पता है ना. So it brings all of sudden water and hell lot of water, and you don't have the scope to save yourself. Then, so now what happened? 1997, there was a severe flood in Bihar, and then entire North Bihar and Eastern Bihar, okay? Western Bihar was highly affected. So this is the time when government forces, what is that? NDRF. So started its rescue operations. More than thousands of villages were drowned in this particular flood. So NDRF started the rescue process, and then a large number of people died, but then those who can be saved, they were saved. Then, and these all people, they have been brought to a common camp. Then, moreover, flood में एक और issue होता है. That flood में issue, not only there is an issue at the time of the flood, but more diseases come up when the flood recedes. Then waterborne diseases. Then, and moreover, even in the houses of the people, some animals, insects, ठीक है, of the poisonous nature, they hide in the houses like snakes and everything. So it's not easy or it's not advisable कि flood recede हो गया आप अपने घर में चले जाओ. Nobody is advised. They are advised to wait for a month or so, ठीक है, so that waterborne diseases are over, and then spray of the different kind of insecticide and everything has happened. So then people can go to the houses. So it means that for 3-4 months they will have to live in the camps. Then, so this is a very bad situation. Now in camp, what people need, obviously once again, they need food, they need medicine, they need water, they need the basic amenities of the life. Then, so closer to Patna, okay, there was one big camp which was created. Then, and in this camp, people from 1,000 villages are living. But then all of a sudden what happened, that when 1 month has passed, so then a very unusual demand came from the camp. Then, and the district magistrates who were employed over there, they were not able to understand that इसकी क्या जरूरत है. People were asking this kind of question, that इसकी क्या जरूरत है, ये तो basic amenity नहीं है. Why they are demanding? Then, but then demand was high, and then later on they understood that why demand was high. Then, so what was the demand? I'll tell you. ठीक है? I would not ask you because many of you know. ठीक है? तो मजा खराब हो जाता है बताने का. So basically demand was sindoor. Then vermilion. So vermilion. And then listen. So why? And who were demanding? Obviously women will be demanding. मैं क्लास में वैसे पहले जब बिगिनिंग में पूछता था तो लोग बोलते थे कि खैनी चाहिए, ठीक है, देन लिट्टी चोखा, कुछ भी अलग अलग अपने तरीके के. But then the demand was sindoor. So the reason was that first of all, it is a symbol of the culture, okay? And women whose husbands are alive, or women whose married life is still intact, so they just want that to continue. And this is a kind of a orthodox, you can say, orthodox belief कि सिंदूर नहीं लगाएंगे तो बुरा हो जाएगा, ठीक है? That is one thing. But actually the main problem was that many of the girls, many of the women, ठीक है, they were getting sexually exploited in the camps. Then they were given some lewd remarks were passed on them, indecent offers were made to them, ठीक है, indecent proposals were there, as if that their husbands have died then, and moreover these girls are orphans, so then they can go with anybody. Then, so now these girls, even girls who were not married, okay, they also demanded sindoor, just to create a deterrence in the camp, that if the sindoor would be there on the forehead, so it will give an indication to the people that they are married, their families are intact, okay? So at least some sort of indecent proposals would not be there, instances of the groping would not be there, there would be some sort of fear. So this is why they demanded. So that's how the district magistrates who were employed over here, they realized that even the smallest of the commodities have hell lot of uses. Smallest of commodity of the culture has hell lot of usage in the administration. I hope you got it. Then, now let's come to the third part. This discussion is important because बहुत बार कुछ ऐसे questions होते हैं जो हमारे dictation में नहीं होते हैं, ठीक है? You will have to write at your own, and n number of the time UPSC has asked this question. So if you remember the discussion, you will always be able to write a good answer. Then, so particularly in the mains examination. Now, so next thing is that whichever state you are, do you know that you will get your own state after the selection, even if you get the good rank? Then, so even if you get the good rank, then except people who have 1 to 5 rank, then except these people, और 1 to 10 भी बोल दूं मैं, ठीक है, उसके अलावा कोई भी नहीं बता सकता कि उसे कौन सा कैडर मिलने वाला है. You never know. So suppose that obviously that if you are from the cadre of that, if you are from the state of UP, you are well versed in the Hindi language, ठीक है, English also. But then if your posting happens in the Tamil Nadu, so what you'll do, ठीक है, will you be able to conversate with the people of the Tamil Nadu? And as you know, that there is no hiding in this fact that the state which least prefers Hindi is the Tamil Nadu. Then you will have problem. English वैसे भी नहीं issue, English का तो वैसे ही issue होता है, ठीक है. I myself have encountered one instance, not to criticize them, but they were helpful to me. I'll tell you what happened. I took a bus from, there is a place called Bodhi, ठीक है. When you are descending from the Munnar and you are going to the Madurai. So I took a bus from Bodhi, then Theni, Bodhi, Theni, and then to Madurai. I was asking to them about a particular place in Madurai, and then everybody was trying to help. Nobody was knowing Hindi, nobody was knowing English. So finally what I had to do, somehow my mind worked, and then I got it translated into Tamil then from the Google Assistant, and then I showed it to them. So finally everybody was guiding, but the problem was everybody was guiding in the Tamil. So that's a big problem. Then तो मुझे समझ में आया कि काम नहीं होना है. So anyways, so now so if you are posted in Tamil Nadu, ठीक है, you can't use Hindi, ठीक है, because maybe in the administration some people know, but then your main work is interaction with the people. Then and people will be speaking the Tamil. So then if you don't know the Tamil, so how can you be working in the Tamil Nadu cadre? Then, so for that, you need to understand the Tamil language. You need to read the Tamil language, and you need to write, you need to understand, you need to be well versed in the Tamil language. So, understanding, and what is the language? Language is one of the biggest symbol of a culture of a particular area. Right? So that's how a provision is there in the UPSC, obviously, when you get selected, when you get your cadre. So in state administrative institute, you are trained in that particular language. बिना उस language को जाने तुम वहां पे effective नहीं हो सकते हो, ठीक है? So whichever state you will be going, you will have to learn that particular language. Then, I hope you got it. Similarly, in the foreign services also, ठीक है? ऐसा थोड़ी है कि English आती है तो दुनिया में कहीं पे भी काम कर लेंगे. Then, so even if you know English, will you be very good in that France? Will you be good in Spain? उनकी अंग्रेजी तो और खराब है, ठीक है? If you look at their pronunciation, so it seems that Indians are much better in the English pronunciation than them. Then, so you will have to learn those languages. So you will be learning 3 languages over there. Okay? So you have been given a choice, one main language and then 2 other additional language. So language is one of the biggest symbol of the culture. Then, and that you have to master. Now let's come to the next question. Then, so how culture is connected with the economy? Do culture has any impact on economy? Yes or no? Yes. So how and how much would be? Can we quantify that impact on economy? We can. Take it. So can you tell some examples? Good. Very good. So for example, what he said, marriages, fairs and festivals. Okay? So marriages, fairs and festivals are a big avenues of the economy. Let's elaborate this part then. So India is that many a times it is regarded as the cultural economy, and to better say, India is regarded as a marriage and festival economy. Then, so for example, that let's look at the marriage. So all around the year we do have instances of the marriage. For example, that in Hindu tradition there is a lagan, ठीक है, and lagan के कुछ date होते हैं. So that comes in a particular phase. So there would be some lagan in the winters, some lagan in the summers. Then, and when the Hindu lagan is not there, so Muslim lagan would be there. Okay? So their auspicious days are there to get married. Similarly, in all the other religions, there are different dates. So all around the year, there is some sort of marriage celebration. और marriage नहीं हो रहा तो engagement तो रोज ही होते हैं, ठीक है? Class से लेके बाहर तक. So these are there. And then Indian marriages are always a lavish affair. Then, so always a lavish affair. Obviously, that बिना 5 किलो सोना चढ़ाए तो होता नहीं है. That to say, but in reality, that we have a lot of love towards the yellow metal, ठीक है, including me also. Then, so yellow metal, शादी हो या ना हो, लेकिन yellow metal के प्रति सबको लगाव है, ठीक है. So in marriages, then that जो ब्राइड और ग्रूम को जाना है उसके अलावा घर भर के गहने खरीदे जाते हैं, ठीक है. सो दैट इज वन थिंग. देन द क्लोथिंग इकोनॉमी, इट क्रिएट्स अन ऑल्टरनेटिव एम्प्लॉयमेंट ऑल्सो, सीजनल ही सही लेकिन एम्प्लॉयमेंट. सो फूड इंडस्ट्री में, देन मेनी अदर थिंग्स विच आर कनेक्टेड टू द मैरिज, यू कैन इमेजिन. देन so that is one part. Apart from it, let's talk about the festivals then. So in India, festivals are also a big occasion then. So let's take the example of Diwali itself then. So when we talk about the Diwali, hell lot of spendings happen in the Diwali then. So, and hell lot of spending, clothing industry revives then, but then mainly the decoration industry. So it is said that Diwali happens in India, but the preparation of the Diwali starts 6 months early in the China. Then, so this is a reality. Even China also takes benefit of it. How come? The rice lights that you hang from your houses, ठीक है, that's all made in China, सस्ता, ठीक है, टिकाऊ तो नहीं होता था, but so made in China. In fact, China, if you look at the China, so China, how many people follow religion? Percentage, any percentage wise, not more than 5% people in China follow any religion. Otherwise, rest of the people, they are atheists. Then, so they don't follow, overall, they don't follow any religion. They have some sort of cultural practices like Confucianism and Taoism, but then that's not a religion. So they follow this thing, but they don't follow religion. So वहां पे 95% लोग कोई religion नहीं follow कर रहे हैं, but after India, the maximum number of the idols are created in China. ठीक है? And whose idol? Lord Ganesh and Goddess Lakshmi. ठीक है? And many other Indian festival idols. ठीक है? So they are created over here for what? Because Indians are there in all over the world. कहीं ना कहीं तो खरीद ही लेंगे. ठीक है? So that is one part. I'll tell you one more thing. ठीक है? And this is a new example which I'm bringing for you. So one of the very daily stuff in our house, which we have incorporated as an essential item, है तो essential नहीं, but we use it as the essential item, अगरबत्ती, incense stick, ठीक है? So which country is known for, or which country is the biggest manufacturer of the agarbatti? So you said it rightly, but then India is also one of the biggest manufacturer. But then India is one of the biggest manufacturer of the incense stick, but then still, whatever be the production of the incense stick, it's not enough for India. Then, and the secondary demand of the Indian market is fulfilled by Vietnam. Okay? So in Vietnam, there are n number of the villages which are involved with only incense stick making only. And they all suffered huge damages, okay, huge losses during the COVID period, because it was not an essential commodity and it was not imported by India. So the entire villages suffered then, and a good chunk of the Vietnamese economy suffered. And once again, they placed the request to the Indian government to revive it. Then, so agarbatti mainly used in India, but then manufacturing happens in Vietnam. Similarly, many things you can see. Now, let's look at that. One of the favorite example of mine is the Durga Puja of the Bengal. Durga Puja sab jagah hoti hai, okay? But Bengal is unique, and particularly the Calcutta belt is very unique. Then, so it is said that in Calcutta, the Calcutta economy runs from the Durga Puja to Durga Puja. ठीक है? जिस दिन दुर्गा पूजा खत्म होती है, अगले दुर्गा पूजा की तैयारी स्टार्ट हो जाती है. So now when we look at it, so how many of you have been to Durga Puja during Durga Puja in Calcutta? Raise your hands. ठीक है, a good number of the people. सबको जाना चाहिए एक बार, इसलिए नहीं कि इट्स अ रिलीजियस थिंग, जस्ट टू लुक एट द ग्रैंडियर विच इज देयर इन द दुर्गा पूजा in Calcutta. It looks like altogether entire city has gone into a marriage mode then, and such a beautiful pandals get created. And if you happen to ask the cost of the construction in the pandals, आज के टाइम पे लास्ट ईयर आई कोट यू, ठीक है, आई हैपन टू आस्क सम ऑफ द पंडाल्स एंड देन आई गॉट टू नो कि 8 करोड़ 9 करोड़. आई वाज लाइक कि इतना क्या जाता है, ठीक है. बट देन इफ यू लुक एट इट, सो it actually revives whatever be the construction cost or decoration cost. It actually revives the Calcutta economy, hotel industry, restaurant industry, food industry, clothing industry, travel industry, everything gets revived, alternative economy. So it's not just a religious thing, but it's also a very important thing for the economy. So if you remove the cultural things from India, so economy का बहुत बड़ा aspect खत्म हो जाएगा. Then apart from it, in COVID, that's a unique case then, that majority of the countries, they suffered losses except India. Then, so there was a resilience in the Indian economy, not just because of the government of the day, their prudent policies might be one factor, but then it's all because of the inherent cultural classics in India, which makes it resilient then. And that's how we did not suffered a lot during that particular duration. While other countries have suffered a lot, but India did not suffer a lot. Then, so this is what is about the importance part. Now, one last question: that is culture static or dynamic? Then it is a mix of both. Then, so it is a mix of both. It could be that some parts of the culture would be static. Obviously, some part would be static. अगर जो static नहीं होगा, तो obviously it loses its identity then, and dynamic nahi hoga, so then it will not be able to survive in the developing world or in the evolving world. So it will have to be both then. So now understand that there is always a basic structure of a culture or some tenets of the culture which will remain always. Then if it is not remaining, so then culture becomes extinct then. So there would be some aspect of the culture which are static, but then dynamism is also there in the culture. So for example, जैसे constitution में पढ़ते हो, basic structure of constitution. So it is written in the constitution that everything can be repealed and amended, but not the basic structure of the constitution, as you know. So similarly in culture also, that there is a basic structure which cannot be altered. If it is altered, so then there is no more culture then. So that would not be altered, but new things always can be incorporated into the culture. And India, particularly as a country and as a subcontinent expression, it has been most evolving culture. Nowhere in the world, no part of the world has been this much evolving than the Indian culture. Then, but then the unique aspect of the Indian culture is that it was always having a continuity also. So with the evolution, there is a continuity from the past also. I'll give you examples then. So now, one of the evolving, as we mentioned, that culture is the identity of the people then. So one of the evolving identity of the Indians then, I'll give you one example. Example is basically not as a politician I'm quoting him, but as a person of the intelligentsia class, Sasi Tharoor. So, Sasi Tharoor has worked in the UN General Assembly for a very long time, and then after his political stint started in India, and then he was serving in the External Affairs Ministry. But then, now, so you all know that he is one guy from the intelligentsia class, and whenever he speaks, so there is a grace in that particular speech or something. Okay? In fact, there was one of the very famous debate of the Sasi Tharoor in Oxford University, then, that how British colonized India, then, and in fact, the colonization of the Indian Railway. So if you happen to see that debate, you will be enlightened to know the facts that he has discussed and debated. So now, point is, Sasi Tharoor has written so many books then, and one, the famous book was The Great Indian Novel in the beginning. Okay? So The Great Indian Novel, and this book has characters from the Mahabharata, and then this book has the character from the contemporary political scenario, and very well he has drawn the parallels between the two. Apart from it, he has authored so many books. हर साल कोई ना कोई एक किताब आ जाती है. But then there was one book which was very popular in 2011s and 12s and 13s, ठीक है, particularly in the UPSC circle then, and that was the Pax Indica. So Pax Indica on foreign relations. So his own observation as a US General Secretary, not General Secretary, US General Assembly member, and he has quoted. So when he was writing, in that book itself he has written that when he was writing this book, he was, that his flight was delayed at Amsterdam and then he was waiting for the flight. Then, so since there was a lot of time, so what he did that he resumed his work of the book writing and continuously from 4 or 5 hours he was writing on his laptop. Then one Dutch man came closer to him, okay, and he was staring from very long time, and then he came closer to him and then he handed his laptop to Tharoor and then said that, can you fix my laptop? So he said that, how come you know that I can fix the laptop? So then the guy said that you look like an Indian and Indians are software engineers. So this is an evolving identity of the Indians. Then that Indians who serve in the Europe and America, they are software engineers. Then, and in fact, the history has witnessed this particular progress that Indians have done very good in it. Look at the big companies of the world who are holding the positions. Then Indians, ठीक है, चाहे वो Microsoft हो, ठीक है, you know it. Then I don't need to quote it. So you know it that Indians are in a big positions. Then, so in software we have done a lot. Then, so this way that there is a evolving identity. Maybe आज ये है कल कुछ और हो. Then, so culture is evolving. Another thing that we have accommodated hell lot of things from the different cultures. We have given our unique way of the that different stuffs of the culture. So for example, that what is called as the French toast might be different in the France, but it is different in India. Then, so हो सकता है कि फ्रांस वाले French toast में egg हो लेकिन हमारे यहाँ आलू होता है. Then, in fact, the Chinese chow mein is very different. Then, so the Cantonese cuisine, we have made it Indo-Chinese cuisine. Okay? So if the Chinese will come to India, look at that their chow mein, they will be, so obviously they will say that it's not the original one. But we have our own taste. Then, we have developed it in our own way. China को भी ले लिया और थोड़ा गरम मसाला भी डाल दिया. So, so this is how, ठीक है. Then tea was discovered in China, ठीक है. वहां से भी हमने ले लिया, ठीक है. और उसके बाद दिन हमने मसाला चाय बना लिया, ठीक है. So, look at the each and everything. We have given our own twist to it while accepting it, ठीक है. So we have accommodated almost all the things, all the major civilizations. Then, so it has been a very accommodative culture. Some instances of the, okay, some instances of the violence, some instances of the intolerance does not define the overall cultural continuity of this particular subcontinent. I hope you got it. So, whenever you get a question, I think last time I have seen in 2019 that there was one subjective question जिसका आंसर कहीं किसी किताब में लिखा नहीं मिलेगा, ठीक है? But then if you have this generic understanding, so you'll be able to write a very beautiful answer, ठीक है? So now after this entire discussion, let's move on to the other stuff. अब वापस आते हैं एग्जाम के सिनेरियो पे. So as you all know that 2011 onwards the CSET pattern started, particularly in the prelim stage, and 2013 onwards mains में नए changes, ठीक है. So 2011 onwards, if we look at 11 to 23, हमारे सामने 13 year का पेपर है, ठीक है. In 13 year, the average number of the question from culture, any idea कितना होना चाहिए? नहीं ज्यादा, इतना भी ज्यादा मत बढ़ाओ, ठीक है. So 7.5 from culture, ठीक है. So it comes around 7.5. Maxima, minima, I'll tell you. So minimum number of the questions has been 3. एक साल पूछा है. And maximum has been 14. So maximum has been 14 and 14 was in 2014. ठीक है? So 2014. So generally what you can expect, normally prelims exam में 6 से 7 question expect करो. ठीक है? Last year कम थे. Last year 5 question थे बस. ठीक है? It means that कि this year it could be 7. Then, so this year definitely अगर जो average में जाते हैं तो 7, but I feel that कि this year there would be more. You all know, ठीक है? So this there would be more. Let's expect that कि इस end पे कैसा question आता है. So 6 to 7 question normally you can expect. Apart from it, what about the mains examination? So in mains examination, 2013 से नया पैटर्न था, उसके पहले का हम छोड़ देते हैं बिकॉज वट एवर क्वेश्चन हैज बीन आस्क्ड, क्योंकि दो ही जीएस पेपर होते थे, जीएस पेपर 1 एंड जीएस पेपर 2, एंड सिंस 2 ऑप्शनल्स वर देयर बिफोर 2013, so people were more oriented towards the optional, lesser on the GS. In fact, GS coaching institutes were not popular before 2012. Then it's only optional coaching institutes were popular. That was different time. And GS coaching institute, वैसे मतलब generally people that what they were doing, that they were not going for the GS classes because they believed that कि ये तो हम कर लेंगे. And there was one reason that in paper 2 there was one section of the mathematics then, and out of 300 marks, 75 to 80 marks was coming from that mathematics section, which was called as statistics. So statistics के साथ एक अच्छी बात ये थी that if you prepare it well, so you can get out of 80, you can get 70 or 72. So that was that people generally, we were also doing the same thing, that we were more focusing on the statistics than the other areas कि paper 2 तो वैसे prepare हो जाएगा. So that was an altogether different ball game. But then 2013 onwards changes happened, and then the GS importance started to increase. Then so उसके पहले भी जो एग्जाम्स थे, जस्ट आई एम टेलिंग यू, ठीक है, बिफोर 2013 नॉर्मली 600 नंबर का पेपर होता था, 2 पेपर्स वर देयर ऑफ द जीएस, एंड इन दैट 600 मार्क्स लगभग 40 to 50 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन कल्चर से होता था, ठीक है. सो दिस मच दे वर आस्किंग आउट ऑफ द 600 अर्लियर, एंड इवन टिल एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, सो यू कैन गेट 40 मार्क्स कम से कम, इतने का तो क्वेश्चन आता है. In terms of number of the question in the paper 1, so paper 1 में अगर जो if we consider 20 questions, so generally what they have done, that minimum number of the questions has been 2 and maximum number of the questions has been 5, ठीक है. So 12.5 के according जाओगे, so 12.5 के according 25 marks, then and then this will come around 62.5 marks, ठीक है. So this is the range of the culture, ठीक है. So these many questions and these many marks can be allocated to the culture section. But then one more thing you must remember, when it comes to world history and post-independence, only mentioned in the mains stage of exam, and UPSC has not been very consistent in asking the questions from these two sections, particularly post-independence तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं. In last 11 years, ठीक है, in last 11 years और 10 years consider करो, 10 years में total 4 questions has been asked from the post independence, then 3 questions were there in the very first year 2013 and एक बीच में, उसके बाद कभी नहीं, ठीक है. So that is one scenario. The second is, so post independence is one of the highly neglected part which UPSC is not asking, ठीक है. And another thing is the world history. So world history is that in the beginning first year they asked 3 questions, then सेकेंड ईयर एक क्वेश्चन था, उसके बाद दिन 2 साल तक कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं, फिर एक क्वेश्चन, फिर कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं. सो फ्रॉम लास्ट 3 years, लास्ट ईयर वी हैड ओनली 1 क्वेश्चन, उसके 2 साल तक कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं था, ठीक है. सो जनरली फ्रॉम दीज 2 sections दे डोंट आस्क गुड नंबर ऑफ द good number of the questions. So yahan se aate nahi hai. So major, and what about the culture and modern? So in fact, what they have done in last 4-5 years, the number of the questions of the culture and modern, okay, they change like this way. So suppose karo that this year 3 questions from art and culture pucha, okay. So they will be asking, balancing it with the modern, 3 questions from the modern. Then some year what they do, so 4 questions from culture, 2 questions from modern, then 4 questions from modern, 2 questions from culture. So this way they maintain a balance between the modern and culture. So importance of the modern is exactly similar to the importance of the culture in the mains examination. And sometimes questions of the cultures are the most difficult questions in your mains paper, okay. So sometimes it has been. In fact, I don't know I have told you or not, but in I hope all of you know one of the rank 1, Ira Singhal. Okay? So I happened to listen to one of her interview when she was talking about her paper 1. So she mentioned that when she saw the very paper 1, GS paper, and when she was going through the culture question, so the very first feeling with her that this year I'll not get the interview call. Then the questions were difficult, and she left some of the questions also, but she performed well in the geography section, and that's how she got some good marks in the paper 1 because of the geography section. But in culture, so she was saying that it haunted her for a longer time that I have not done good in this particular part. Then, so let's hope that after these 15, 16 classes, whatever we are going to do, that will be good enough to solve the questions of the culture. Okay? And luckily, last year when 4 questions were there, in fact, last 4 or 5 years, every question which is there in the culture that could have been solved from the classroom stuff itself. Okay? But it cannot be ensured. Obviously, I cannot say कि ये लकीर का फकीर है कि यहीं से आएगा, ऐसा भी नहीं बोलना है. But then we will be having an upper age as compared to the other people in the market. ठीक है? So any other people from the market. And for this section, देखो modern बहुत लोग पढ़ाते हैं, ठीक है? And then other sections also people teach. But then I would say in this section, ठीक है, that अगर जो मेरे पढ़ाई से नहीं आएगा, तो इस मार्केट में किसी के पढ़ाई से नहीं आएगा. So इसीलिए आज आए हो. चलो, so now let's go into the topics that we are going to see in this particular section. ठीक है? And one more thing I just wanted to tell you. In April first week, I'll be coming up with my own culture book. You can see, you can evaluate before buying it. ठीक है? You just evaluate. I would not suggest कि खरीदना या जो करना, but evaluate it. Yes? घर बेचना पड़ेगा सैंपल देने के चक्कर में. ठीक है? वही तो कह रहा हूं, घर बेचना पड़ेगा मुझे. चाहोगे क्या तुम लोग गुरु का घर बेच जाए? ओहो, बाहर निकलो इधर से. यस सर. दक्षिणा देने के बजाय खुद ही मेरे से दक्षिणा मांग रहे हो, बेशर्मो. चलो, so now let's see that what all topics that we are going to see in this particular section. So one of the big topic is architecture and sculpture. So I'll tell you that how many classes would be there in these all. So architecture and sculpture would be the first topic. Then second we will go into the religion and philosophy. Religion and philosophy. Then third, classical dance. Fourth, classical music. Language and literature. Painting. Sorry. Just one. And last one is the Bhakti and Sufi. एंशियंट मिडिवल में तो नहीं पढ़ा है ना भक्ति एंड सूफी. ठीक है. सो भक्ति एंड सूफी. So these are the 7 topics or 7 sections that we are going to see over here. Now I'll tell you that how many. So what is the expected number of the classes in these all? So ये सबसे बड़ा टॉपिक है आर्किटेक्चर एंड स्कल्पचर. एंड आर्किटेक्चर एंड स्कल्पचर will take 6 to 7 classes. Right? So 6 to 7 classes. Then religion and philosophy, it takes 2.5 classes. Classical dance, 1.5 classes. Okay? Then this can take a little bit more than one. This one and this one. Okay? So सो ये 15 नंबर है एंड 1 एक्स्ट्रा हो सकता है इसमें. ठीक है? लेस तो नहीं होता है. आई हैव ट्राइड अ लॉट, बट देन so these many topics we are going to see. Now further you understand why I have written these topics. So the relative importance of these topics in the exam. The very first chapter, आर्किटेक्चर एंड स्कल्पचर, इट्स द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, ठीक है. एज फार एज द नंबर इज कंसर्न्ड, मेंस में 60% ऑफ क्वेश्चंस आर देयर फ्रॉम दिस सेक्शन, ठीक है. So mains में 60% of the entire culture part has been there from this section, and then after in prelims 40% questions are there from this section, ठीक है. Religion and philosophy we can keep it 20% in the prelims exam, and mains में थोड़ा rare है, just 10%. Then classical dance prelims में every alternate year you can expect a question from the classical dance. So for example, last year there was no question from the classical dance. This year it can be expected. So every alternate year. Then classical music also. So जिस year dance से question नहीं है उस year music से है, जिस year music से नहीं है उस year dance है, कभी कभी दोनों साथ में दे देते हैं. So meaning alternate year you can expect the questions from this one. Language and literature is little important in the mains stage. 20 to 30% of the questions are asked from this particular section, and prelims में basically authors and the themes they are asked. Then so prelims में भी लगभग every alternate year you can get a question from the language and literature. Then what about the painting section? So painting section, though the new NCERT of the painting has been released, then but बहुत questions उससे पूछा नहीं है. 2021 they released this new NCERT, so last 2 years they have not asked much question. But then maybe this year they can ask. So painting में they have asked questions, I would say, every third year. Then comes Bhakti and Sufi. So Bhakti and Sufi से question both prelims और mains में दोनों में रहे हैं, ठीक है. And as far as the prelims is concerned, so every third year I have seen a question, and mains after 4 years there has been a question in the mains examination, ठीक है. So these are the topics. And out of it, as you can figure out, the most important is the first one and the second one, ठीक है. So second one, and so as the classical dance and music, बाकी सब भी हैं, but then ये section से सबसे ज्यादा questions आते हैं, and that's how it will take a little bit of more time because it will cover the architecture from which particular part, ancient to the British India rule. No, sorry. British rule until 1947. So we are going to cover from the beginning till 1947. Okay? So let's start with the very first chapter, architecture and sculpture. Architecture and sculpture. So now to understand architecture and sculpture, one classification which I am going to create, it is very important for you to understand the classification. And कभी भी अगर जो architecture में confusion होता है तो look back at this classification which I am going to create, ठीक है. So let's start with the topic itself, architecture and sculpture. अच्छा, just one survey, one small survey. How many of you are going to appear this year exam? पूरी की पूरी class, ठीक है. So I would suggest don't buy any book. Don't buy anything from the market right now. So why I am saying this? ऐसा नहीं कि किताबें बेकार हैं या कुछ भी हैं, ठीक है. It's already 10th of February. Then so 10th of February, and it is not the only subject. Culture is not the only subject that you need to read. You equally need to read environment, ecology, economy, polity, ठीक है. And questions सबसे आते हैं. As far as the history section is concerned, combined with the culture, 17 to 18 question you expect, but then 80 to 82 questions are from the other areas. So it's better that give equal emphasis to the other subjects, those who are going to appear this year exam, and rely on the class notes itself. Okay? Maximum what you can do, as some of you are still asking about the books. So maximum, if you are hell-bent that if you want to read some sort of book, so I would rather suggest download the class 11th NCERT, Introduction to the Fine Art Part 1. Then, and that NCERT you can go through. But वो भी कब? जब यहाँ पे आर्किटेक्चर का टॉपिक खत्म हो जाए तब. The second NCERT which is on paintings, I would not suggest you to read. रीड करने के लिए नहीं बोलूंगा, डाउनलोड करके रख लो, खरीदने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. एंड व्हाट यू डू, जस्ट लुक एट द इमेजेस विच आर देयर, इमेजेस का डिस्क्रिप्शन पढ़ लेना, ठीक है. सो दैट विल बी एनफ फॉर दिस ईयर एग्जाम. अदरवाइज इफ यू गो बाय एनी बुक्स, इट विल टेक टाइम. किसी भी किताब को पढ़ने के लिए टाइम चाहिए, एंड मोर ओवर वन टाइम रीड इज नॉट एनफ, ठीक है. You will be in a pseudo hope that I have read one time and then मैं तो भगवान हूं, मुझे सब याद हो गया, ठीक है. किसी को याद नहीं होता है. So it needs 3-4 revisions. Then so 3-4 revisions is not possible at this point of time, not advised at all, whereby The stakes are very high, ठीक है? And moreover, you need to be well versed with your current affairs also. You cannot neglect your current affairs also. So प्रिपरेशन को थोड़ा कॉस्ट बेनिफिट एनालिसिस करके करना, ठीक है? एंड नो न्यू बुक एडिशन फ्रॉम मार्च ऑनवर्ड्स, नो न्यू बुक एडिशन इन एनी ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट फ्रॉम मार्च ऑनवर्ड्स. अगर एडिशन कर रहे हो तो अपने चांसेस कम कर रहे हो प्रीलिम्स क्लियर करने के, ठीक है? सेइंग इट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द एक्सपीरियंस, ठीक है? बट देन choice is up to you. So introduction to the fine art part 1 and part 2 you can download from the NCERT website. Keep it with you. Part 1 you can here and there you can read, but then part 2 only images, description, nothing else. Then no CCRT website, ठीक है? It's a very complex one and nowadays it is no more good. No such NIOS booklet, no Tamil Nadu text, nothing, ठीक है? एंड कुछ लोगों ने ऑलरेडी किताबें पहले से खरीद के जिसकी रख ली हैं, तो उसमें से भी बस इमेजेस ही देखना, ठीक है? सो इमेजेस ही देखना, बाकी इफ यू हैव स्टार्टेड स्टडिंग सो देन आई हैव नो सजेशन रिगार्डिंग इट, ठीक है? सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द आर्किटेक्चर एंड स्कल्पचर में वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग एंशिएंट कट टाइमलाइन. सो यू राइट अ एंशिएंट एंड क्लासिफिकेशन. सो एंशिएंट वी विल बी स्टार्टिंग विद द इंडस आर्किटेक्चर ऑफ इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन. Indus Valley civilization, ठीक है? So here we are not going to study their history, it's only architecture, ठीक है? History already तुम लोग पढ़ चुके हो. So Indus Valley civilization. Then after Indus Valley civilization we will go into the Maurya age art. Then after Maurya age art the next one is basically Gupta age art. नहीं, post Maurya, sorry, not Gupta. Post Maurya and then Gupta. Post Maurya. And leave little bit of space so that we can define that what is the highlight of these ages. So post Maurya art and then comes Gupta period art. And last one, South Indian architecture. South Indian architecture. So basically the focus of the Indus Valley would be its town planning and seals already we have covered in the classes. थोड़ा बहुत फिर से वापस reference ले लेंगे, but then we'll not cover it. Maurya age, the focus of the Maurya age is the stupa, ठीक है? Though there are many things that we are going to study, but the most important achievement was the stupa. What about the post-Maurya age? Sculptures. So 3 styles of sculpture, Mathura, Gandhar and Amravati. And Gupta age. So most important thing during the Gupta age, not only the climax of the cave architecture, but the beginning of the temple architecture. And in South Indian architecture also, we'll be talking about the temple architecture. Then after ancient, medieval लिखने में थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है, बट लिखने में थोड़ा ज्यादा है, पढ़ने में कम है. Ancient looks that in this classification it is smaller, but it takes a lot of time. So let's come to the medieval. Medieval, and when it comes to medieval architecture, so straightforward, we can divide medieval architecture into Mughal and Delhi Sultanate. ठीक है? So here Delhi Sultanate we are writing Delhi Sultanate architecture. We'll go into the Mughal later on. Let's complete the Delhi Sultanate part. So Delhi Sultanate में ही there would be 2 divisions. So first we are calling imperial art, and second is the provincial art. provincial art. Imperial में what all things would be there? So according to the dynasties of the Delhi Sultanate. So basically, in Delhi Sultanate, imperial art is belonging to the ruling dynasties of the Delhi Sultanate and initiatives taken by them. So initiatives of the slave dynasty, Khilji, Tughlaq, Sayyid and Lodhis. Then, so period wise we'll be looking at it. Let's start with the very first one, slave period. Slave period. Then Khilji period. खिलजी के बाद तुगलक पीरियड, then Sayyid, and the last one is Lodhi. And Lodhi period. Done. So these are the imperial art wala part, and next come to provincial art. So there were many provinces where the rule of the Delhi Sultanate was not direct then, and these provinces had developed their own system of the art. So in this, we'll talk about the provincial art of Bengal, then Jaunpur in UP. In last class we discussed about Jaunpur. Then after Jaunpur, Malwa. Malwa के बाद we'll discuss Gujarat. So in the leaked classes, Gujarat architecture is not there. So Bijapur is the last one. Then oh, तो नया वाला भी लीक हो गया. Hackers are good. So this is the first part. ठीक है? फिर मुगल वाला part will go into. People are very fast. चलो, I'll move to the side. Done? Just give me 1 minute. मैं वापस से I'll put it, but then let me complete this part on the downside. Mughal period. इसको भी 2 पार्ट में डिवाइड करो, मुगल पीरियड को, and now you can see. So Mughal period, I'm writing over here. One is the Mughal art itself. Mughal art. And here once again provincial art. Provincial art. So Mughal art में, since Mughal was just one dynasty, so यहाँ पे rulers के नाम हमें लिखने होंगे, their periods. So basically we will talk about Babur and Humayun also, but then mainly starts from the Akbar period. ठीक है? So Akbar's period, then after him Jahangir, Shahjahan, and the last one is Aurangzeb. Then provincial art में Sikh architecture, and then Rajput architecture. हो गया? अभी कुछ और बाकी है. So Akbar period, Jahangir, Shahjahan, Aurangzeb, Sikh architecture and Rajput architecture. ठीक है? So this is ancient and medieval. Let's talk about the British period. So that we call as modern British period. Mention British period. So during British period also, we'll divide the architecture into two types. Okay? And one would be obviously the British architecture and another is the provincial. So यहाँ पे भी British and provincial. Then as far as the British is concerned, there were two styles of the British architecture. In the beginning, they have introduced Indo-Gothic style of architecture. Indo-Gothic style of architecture. And number two is Neo-Roman style of architecture. Neo-Roman style of architecture. Provincial में अवध architecture. अवध architecture. Done. So this is the timeline. If you want, I can write the years also. But मैं जानबूझ के नहीं लिख रहा हूँ. See what happens that when I write years, so then उसके बाद तुम्हें भी एक tendency होती है कि याद करना है. Actually, that is not required. What UPSC asks is actually the sequence they ask. Very rare. ठीक है? In 10 year, maybe in 10 year, 1 or 2 questions could be on a very factual year basis, but otherwise it's only the periods and the sequence of the periods that they do ask. So, and mains में इन सब चीज की जरूरत नहीं है. That if you're writing a mains answer, so then you need to write that what was the date of the battle of Buxar, किस दिन हुआ था, किस तारीख हुआ था, afternoon में हुआ था, कि morning में हुआ था. That is not required at all. ठीक है? What is required? The details of that particular incident. Then, so now let's start with the very first one, Indus Valley civilization. Second time we are going to start Indus Valley. So mention architecture of Indus Valley. And I have completely forgotten that what we studied over there. So we talked about IVC, I think, seals. मैंने थोड़ी बहुत बात की थी. And did we talked about town planning also? थोड़ी बहुत बात की थी. चलो फिर वापस. नहीं. Ancient medieval में भी थोड़ी बहुत तो बिना उसके discussion हो ही नहीं सकता. But then we are going into, obviously we'll go into details, but then did we had any discussion related to the discovery of the Indus Valley? I think we had. Dayaram Sahani and R.D. Banerjee. So those discussion एक बार फिर से repeat करवा रहा हूँ, dictate नहीं करवाऊंगा, ठीक है? So just understand. So what we mentioned in the ancient and medieval class is basically that how it was discovered. So unusual events in the Ravi belt, flooding, and because of the flooding, unusual stuff coming from the downside to the upside, and then people were reporting it to the British authorities. Then, so 1838 itself, these reports started to come. Okay? These unusual phenomena started to happen. So British Mortimer Wheeler made a survey of it, but then the big British authorities have not taken it very seriously. And then when the Archaeological Survey of India was founded in 1861 with the first chairman, Alexander Cunningham. Okay? So he has also done the survey of the area. He was convinced that there must be something, but then he did not went ahead with the excavation process. Then finally what happened? 1870, when the railway line was laid down between Karachi to Lahore. Okay? So that is the time when in the Montgomery district of the Pakistan, in Punjab area, so these unusual findings were there. And after these unusual findings, what has happened? So then it was decided, that it was realized that there is some sort of underlying civilization, but still no big step has been taken in this regard. Finally, फिर क्या होता है? It is in 1920s when John Marshall, Archaeological Survey of India chairman, he has taken decision that he will be going ahead with the excavation, and he has given the task of excavation to the two Indian architects, Rakhal Das Banerjee and Dayaram Sahani. So it is Dayaram Sahani who excavated the site of Harappa and R.D. Banerjee who excavated the site of the Mohenjo-daro. So 1921 was the Harappa and 1922 was the Mohenjo-daro. With the excavation of these two sites, it was proven beyond doubt that Indus Valley civilization was one of the most advanced civilization of the world. Then, so I think we had a discussion that why it was most advanced civilization. And we attributed it to not only to the town planning, but also to the usage of the burnt brick for the first time in the any civilization of the world. Then, and moreover, we also had a discussion that why the Egyptian civilization, though they have the landmark buildings, but they are not considered as advanced as the Indus Valley. The reason is burnt brick. Okay? So in Indus Valley, burnt brick of same shape and size was used, but in the pyramids, in the construction of the pyramids, unburnt bricks, sun-dried bricks were created. They were used. Then, so that is the one difference that we have maintained. Then, another thing, unique aspect of the Indus Valley, that there are many tenets or there are many practices of the Indus Valley, though we have not been able to decipher their script, but then the practices are still continuing in one way or another way in the Indian society. And one of the most important example is the town planning itself. Then, so we are going to talk about that town planning and how it has been utilized in the modern Indian scenario. Okay? So, town planning, I think thoda bahut reference to diya tha maine, theek hai? But then here we'll go little elaborate. Apart from it, there are many other artifacts that we need to see. So seals already we have discussed that how the seals look like and what they were made up of. Okay? Description also we have written in the ancient part. Then, so here what we'll do, that we'll be doing a little bit of discussion on the seals, but then after we'll go into the other artifacts of the IVC, which includes their pottery, then and which includes their sculptures. Okay? So sculptures are basically bronze sculpture and terracotta sculpture and stone sculpture. And then after we will be moving to their ornaments and jewelry, and the last discussion we'll have on their town planning. Okay? So let's start karte Indus Valley mein seal se. So though I know that we have covered, but then ek baar fir se wapas se discussion karte hain. So seals. So what is seal? What we mentioned in the ancient class? Batao. Seals are geometrical shaped object. This is what you have written. I know that exactly what you have written. Seals are geometrical shaped object. Okay? And we had a discussion that geometrical shaped object means that ki square ho sakta hai, it will be rectangular, it will be circular, then so any shape could be there. Then they are mainly made up of which particular item, which particular thing? Statite. And what is statite? Soft river stone. Pada nahi hai kya? What we just tell me that, just give me 1 minute. एक मिनट दे दो, मैं खुद ही देख लेता हूं. ठीक है? So sides we have mentioned and ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया. तो पढ़ते हैं. ठीक है? So now understand, when it comes to the seals, so seals are one of the most abundant artifacts found from the Indus Valley civilization. So by the time the last NCERT books were published, the report was that we have discovered or we have got more than 5,000 seal. But then now, as per the reports of the Archaeological Survey of India, by this point of time, there are more than 6,500 seals discovered, okay, or found. So these seals have been found not only from the Indian sites of the Indus Valley, but also from the places where Indus Valley people were doing the trade. So we have found the Indus Valley seals in Oman also, in Saudi Arabia, parts of the Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Dilman, so as in the Iran and so as in the Afghanistan. So these all areas we have found seals, and these seals are indicative of that Indus Valley people were doing the trade with these all area. Moreover, it's a highly informative piece. Then, so highly informative piece whereby when we look at the seal, so how it is created. So first of all, it is a geometrical shaped object. Okay? So geometrical shaped object, and moreover, square bhi ho sakta hai. It could be circular also. It could be rectangular also. So any such shape could be there. Moreover, these seals are mainly made up from the soft river stone statite. So soft river stone statite, and moreover, if we go into the chemical composition of it, so statite is basically magnesium sulfide. Then, so it is the MgS, magnesium sulfide. Then moreover, 90%, more than 90% of the seals were created from the statite, but then 10% तो किसी और चीज से बने हुए. And what are those things? So some of the seals were made from terracotta. I'll explain terracotta later on. Then some of the seals were also made from the precious metals like Ag and Au. What is Ag? Silver and gold. Okay. So Argentinium and Oprum. Then so these two were also used. Apart from it, bronze का भी seal था. तो bronze में भी seal we have found. Even the copper seal also we have found. Then so these all metal seals were also there, though the numbers are less, but then they have been found. Moreover, when we look at the seal, so let's take one example, and that is the square. अगर जो example लेते हैं, so square seal. So this is one of shape, and these seals are pictographic in nature. Pictographic in nature, meaning that pictures and symbols are created on it. Then, so pictures and symbols are created on it, and how these pictures and symbols are created. So it is like, okay, like this. Just let me complete this part. Then it seems like that पहले लाइन में कम images हैं, ठीक है? Second line में थोड़े ज़्यादा हैं. Third more, fourth more. Then, so this is how it is there. Now, there are two words which I'm going to use. One is the normal word which is used in the history, and another is the word which we use in the chemistry. Okay? So history and chemistry. So now understand that this particular pictographic script, pictures and symbols are there in this manner. कि पहले line में कम, दूसरे में ज़्यादा, तीसरे में उससे ज़्यादा, and then more in the last line. ठीक है? So this is called as सर्पलेखना. ठीक है? This is the normal terminology that we used. Meaning that sarpalekhana, as you see that if there is a snake, so how the snake moves like this way. You getting it? Then so it is sarpalekhana. Then moreover, another part of it, that if we go by the chemistry, so then it follows Aufbau principle. Then so Aufbau's principle, I hope many of you must be knowing SP, SPD, SPDF. Then how you do? Like this way. So this is also sarpalekhana. So in this pattern, the things were, or pictures and symbols were created in the pictographic script. But the problem with this script is that it hasn't been deciphered till this date. So it hasn't been deciphered till this date. So because of it, we cannot say everything about the Indus Valley civilization with conclusivity. So hamesha, all the time we add the word perhaps, take it, maybe, this could be the purpose. So we always add most of the time these two words, maybe or perhaps, in the Indus Valley civilization. जब तक कि decipher ना हो जाए, ठीक है? So that is one thing. Moreover, this is the most important source of information about the Indus Valley practices, and variety of the seals were created. So one by one we will discuss those seals, those varieties, and what are the indicators which we are getting from those seals. So एक बार एक definition लिखो. Mention, seals are regarded as one of the most important source of information, about Indus Valley civilization. Then mention further, till this date, more than 6,000 seals have been found. more than 6,000 seals have been found not only from the Indian subcontinent, but also from the areas like Qatar, Bahrain, Iraq, Iran, Oman, and Afghanistan. Then that's it. Then mention, change paragraph. You write, seals are geometrical shaped objects. चाहो तो ब्रैकेट्स में shapes you can mention, square, circular, rectangular, triangular, etc. Then mention after it, they are pictographic in nature. Which means pictures and symbols were created on the seals. Full stop. Then mention further, they were mainly made up from soft river stone. Statite. Then rekha hai board pe, you can see. Then you write, there were also instances of seals made from metals like gold, silver, copper, bronze, and also in terracotta. So terracotta is not a metal. So we'll define abhi thodi der mein, theek hai? So what is terracotta then? So that's about the definition of the seal, that what we can write about, that how it looks like, what all things are created on it then. And ये भी लिख लो, ये word जो मैंने बाद में लिखा था, the pattern of creating images or symbols, is called as Sarpa Lekhana. Then let's come to the examples, and baad mein we'll be talking about the usage of the seals also. So let's come with the examples. And one more thing, that particularly in this topic, since it's architecture, so we need to see the images also. So images I'll be bringing, and 2 या 3 classes पे, एक दिन में first let's cover 2 classes and then we'll see the images, then फिर 2 classes where then we'll see the images, ठीक है? So daily basis I'll not be bringing because it leads to the killing of little bit of time, ठीक है? तो बीच बीच में वो इंटरप्शन होता है और कभी कभी ये कनेक्ट भी नहीं होता है, चाइना मेड थिंग, ठीक है? So so we will be bringing, and even in other topics also. So for example, in the classical dance and the music also, there is a bit usage of the infographics, okay? So some videos and some other informations are there, okay? So let's come to this part, example. So example mein very first one you write Pasupati seal. Pasupati seal. So what is this Pasupati seal? Just listen. So it's a square pattern, and in this pattern there is a man who is depicted sitting in a yogic posture, and then he is wearing a three-horned, ठीक है, a throne is there, ठीक है, crown is there, three-horned crown is there, and then he is surrounded by many animals, ठीक है, नीचे की तरफ भी कुछ animals हैं, and then many animals are surrounded over here. So what is this? So which all animals are there? As far as the animals are concerned, so there is a bull, there is a elephant, there is a tiger, and elephant, tiger, rhino भी है, ठीक है, there is a rhino also, and then नीचे वाले side पे there are deer. Then so antelopes or deer are there. So these many animals are depicted over here. Moreover, this particular person is sitting in a yogic posture. Just like in the yoga, some sort of postures are there. So yogic posture. So now on the basis of what all images we do see in the Pasupati, ठीक है, so what it has been said about it. So historians, it's not you and me who is telling this thing, what it is the historians who said that maybe this image is the image of the Adi Shiva. So word क्या लगाया? Maybe, perhaps, ठीक है, पूरी conformity के साथ नहीं कह रहे हैं, but maybe. So this is the image of the Adi Shiva, then, or Proto Shiva. And moreover, that since the bull is accompanied with the image, so then they are calling. Then apart from it, that it is the Adi Shiva, or basically Lord Shiva, who is regarded as the god of the animals. Then, so god of the animals, and he is surrounded by many animals. Then, moreover, with this image, what else we get to know? That the practices of yoga or meditational processes were known to the people of the Indus Valley civilization. Another thing that we conclude from this particular image is the concept of cohabitation. So what is concept of cohabitation? Any idea? Peaceful interaction with animals or coexistence with the animals. ठीक है? So it is all about that cohabitation says that earth is not only, it's not only for the human beings. It is a shared planet, then where the animals also have an important role to play. So then it is a depiction of that concept where the shared planet earth is there. ठीक है? So these are the predictions that we make and basically the historians have made. Then so एक बार लिखो Pasupati seal. So इसमें लिखो mention in this seal, a person is depicted. In this seal, a person is depicted sitting in a yogic posture. Sitting in a yogic posture. Yogic posture. Then you write, he's surrounded by many animals. He's surrounded by many animals like bull, elephant, rhino, bull, elephant, rhino, tiger, and deer. And deers. So basically 2-3 deers were depicted in the downside of the image. Then mention, historians believe that it is the image of, historians believe that it is image of Proto-Shiva. Proto-Shiva, Adi Shiva. Proto-Shiva. Then mention further. It can also be said that meditational things or meditational processes लिखो, meditational processes were known to were known to Indus Valley people. Indus Valley people. Then आगे लिखो further. Mention it. It also depicts the concept of cohabitation. It also depicts the concept of cohabitation. Then, so this is the first example. Then, out of all the seals, the most abundant is the unicorn seal. So second example, you write unicorn seal. So basically this is a depiction of a one-horned, एक minute रुक जाओ, since this topic I don't have, wait. You can see the images. None of this is original actually. Original one ये सारा बनाया हुआ है. This is the original one. एक ही मिला था, उसके बाद तो और कुछ नहीं मिला है. So this is the seal, original one, and it was broken also. So नीचे के side में you can see the antelopes are there, deer. There is a tiger that looks like elephant, and then after one bull and the rhino is there. So this is the Pasupati seal. Original was exactly similar to this one. Okay, is it visible? ठीक है. So in this topic I don't have the image in my own created ones. तो इसको ये online यहीं देख सकते हो. Then let's come to the unicorn also. सारे seals एक बार देख लो यहाँ पे, ठीक है. And then I'll go into the explanation of those seals. Then, so let me write that part. Wait करो. Unicorn seal. So images, this is the real one which has been found, and this is the most abundant. लिखने का काम बाद में करेंगे, पहले समझ लो, ठीक है. So this is the most abundant seal which has been found from the Indus Valley civilization. Out of all the seals, this number is more, and moreover, there is no animal like this in the modern world. So it is regarded as a mythical animal, or maybe one animal which existed at that time, but maybe at this time it is not there. Then, moreover, एक और इसमें one more thing is that if the animal existed in those times, so remains must be there, but we haven't found the remains like this, the upper part. So this is a mythical animal, ठीक है? And this abundance of this means that they were worshipping this animal. So this is confirmative, or kind of perhaps they were worshipping the nature, worshipping the animals also. So this conclusion we make. But the most interesting was this one that we are going to see right now is, just give me 1 minute. This one. So people leaf seal. इसमें, so now look at it. So people leaf seal. So as you can see that there is a people leaf in this one, and apart from it some animals are created, but still this animal is still very mystery. Okay, it looks like a fish, but it does not look like a fish also. Okay, so there is no conclusion about this image, but then people to sabko dikh raha hai. Okay, so now listen little bit about the people leaf. So people leaf seal is indicative of, once again, the nature worship. Even till this date, people is considered as a kind of a sacred tree. There are many things related to the people which makes it sacred. Then, in fact, it is the science which also makes it sacred. And what is the science of the people tree? Oxygen तो सारे tree देते हैं. Night में, दिन में नहीं देता है ना? So, now listen, one more thing. थोड़ी biology भी मुझे पढ़ाने को मन करता है. So, So just one very actually it is an important discussion. So when we look at the plant kingdom or on planet Earth, all the type of the plants, so we have two type of the plants. If we classify the plants into categories, so two type of the plants which are called as C3 and C4. C3 makes, ध्यान से समझना, C3 plants are those which are 85% of the planet Earth. 15% are C4. Then what is this C3 and C4? So C3 is indicative of not any slang. It is indicative of the 3-carbon metabolism cycle in the plants. 4 is indicative of the 4-carbon metabolism cycle in the plant. C3 cycle of the metabolism in the plant was discovered by Kelvin. Okay? So that is called as the Kelvin cycle. And 4-carbon by Hatch-Slack. Then so that's called as the Hatch-Slack cycle. So metabolism, I hope you understand. Moreover, what happens? So in the C3 plants, अब मुद्दे की बात है, ठीक है? So in the C3 plants, the oxygen production only happens in a daylight, ठीक है? In the presence of the sunlight. Then so during the daytime. But the C4 are those which do the production in the daytime also, in the presence of sunlight also, but they have specific cells which produce the oxygen in the night time also. So they give oxygen 24 hours. Then, so 24 hours. That's why C4 is important. Then, moreover, life giving. Okay? So, as it is said that plants do give oxygen during daytime, night में नहीं देते हैं. So does it mean that कि night में तो हमें oxygen की जरूरत ही नहीं होती है? ठीक है? हम बिना oxygen के रहते हैं. So we need little bit of less oxygen during the sleep. So during the sleep, when you are sleeping, so basically that how you feel little bit of drowsiness, we use pillows. Okay? You know what is the purpose of the pillow? The purpose of the pillow is basically to cut little bit of blood supply to your head, then lessen it, then and when the little bit of blood supply is lesser, so blood supply lesser, so as the oxygen is lesser, and then you feel drowsiness. Then so you will be taking less oxygen during the sleep. But then ऐसा तो है नहीं कि you will not be taking oxygen at all. So that oxygen is required. So 15% of the plants are enough. Okay? C4 plants are enough for the night requirement of the oxygen. I hope you got it then. So this is what is there. And people is one of the tree. Apart from it, in this category, which all other plants would be coming in C4? You have any idea? Maize, very good. Or sorghum and even the wheat. So all the grasses comes under the category of the C4. So grasses, whichever grasses, and grasses का मतलब ये मैं समझना कि that the one which is downside, the shrubs also which are there. Then so they come in this category. Then and they are enough for the 15% production of the this particular oxygen. Okay? So now why we are talking about this over here? Maybe Indus Valley people must have got to know that this is the tree which gives that some sort of freshness, fresh air all the time. ठीक है? रात में नींद नहीं आती होगी people tree के अंदर. The reason is that oxygen supply is there. Oxygen supply ज़्यादा होगा तो नींद नहीं आएगी, ठीक है? So that's why people say कि रात में पीपल के ट्री पे भूत रहता है. भूत नहीं रहता है, ऑक्सीजन ज्यादा होता है, इसलिए नींद नहीं आती है. So getting it. So many such things that you can question and you can inquire related to it. So maybe they must have got to know it, and that's how they started worshipping it. They started depicting it in the seals. ठीक है? So though we cannot say with the conformity कि nature worship वो पूरा का पूरा करते ही थे, but this is indicative of that maybe करते थे. So एक बार लिखो, unicorn में लिखो, it is the most abundant seal. There are some doctors in the class. So क्या science पढ़ा रहा है? So now listen, थोड़ी बहुत जितनी आती है उतनी बता रहा हूँ बस. So unicorn में लिखो, this is the most abundant seal found from Indus Valley towns. Indus Valley towns. Then mention, आज रात में 3 तकिया लगा के मत सोना, नहीं तो फिर स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस हो जाएगा. एक तीसरी प्रॉब्लम है. So then you write, it's an image of one-horned. It's a image of one-horned mythical animal. One-horned mythical animal. MYTHICAL. Mythical animal. Then third example you write. Mentioned seal with people leaf. Seal with people leaf. In this you write, it is indicative of nature worship. It is indicative of nature worship. Then that's it. Then there are other things also about the seals. Let's complete it, then I'll give you the break. Okay? So seals, as far as the seals are there are some unusual images also, and these unusual images are indicative of the shamanic practices. Okay? So as far as the usages of the seals are concerned, तो usage में सबसे पहली बात that they were used in the trade, they facilitated in the trade. I think ये वाला part हमने लिखा है नहीं, चलो we'll write over here. So they facilitated in the trade. जब भी कभी, from suppose that from Indus Valley civilization some commodity is sent to any area, Mesopotamia. So when it is sent to Mesopotamia, so seal was used as the stamp of that consignment which was sent to the Mesopotamia. So it is facilitating in the trade, maybe it is working as a stamp of the Indus Valley civilization also. So that is first purpose. Then the second we can say that seals were used as a shamanic object also. Okay? So what is shamanic? Tantric. Okay? So it was used as a tantric object also. So in many of the seals there used to be some unusual holes, and then seals were, even people were wearing the seals on the armlets also, then on different parts of the body also, and in fact they were used as an amulet also. Amulet, you understand? Tabij. Okay? So tabij का काम ही होता है कि ward of the evil, and that is a shamanic practices. Okay? So seals were also used as a amulet. Then apart from it, it is also said that maybe they were used as a education tool. Okay? So why we call that maybe they were used as a educational tool? The reason is that there were some mathematical symbols on the seal. Conformity तो नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी what historians and everybody say that these are indicative of the pi. Okay? So symbols of the pi are there, symbol of phi, psi. So these three symbols were there. So pi, phi, psi. This is indicative of some sort of mathematical thing. Okay? So likho purpose of the seal. Write 2-3 words. Purpose of the seals. Number 1. Perhaps they were used as stamp of Indus Valley civilization. Stamp of Indus Valley civilization, which facilitated in trade. Which facilitated in trade. Facilitated in trade. Number 2. Seals were also used as shamanic object. Shamanic objects like amulets. To ward off. Seals were also used like shamanic objects like amulets to ward off the evil. To ward off the evil. Then mention next one. Maybe they were also used as educational tool. Maybe they were also used as an educational tool. Educational tools. Then since some of the seals had mathematical symbols, some of the seals had mathematical symbol of pi, phi and psi. Of pi, phi and psi. Then so these are the symbols which is the major point of discussion. So this is what is about. Ek aur likho. One last, just last, you're right. It is also said it is also said that seals were the earliest type of, it is also said that seals were the earliest type of coinage. Earliest type of coinage. Done? So that's about the seal. Break le lo and then we'll see the rest of the part after it. So the next one after it. So two more things we'll see. So let's come to the pottery of the Indus Valley civilization. So pottery of Indus Valley civilization, understand. So when it comes to pottery, all of us know that what is basically pottery. So what is the basic purpose of the pottery? Storage of the grains, water, okay? It is also used as utensils then. But then there were many varieties of the potteries which were created at this point of time. So the popular ones were called as redware pottery. अभी लिखो नहीं, redware pottery, and it is also referred as general ware pottery, मतलब general purpose के लिए. So general ware pottery. Then apart from it, there were special varieties of the pottery which were known as miniature vessel, perforated vessel, and Fanes pottery. So one by one we'll see all of it, that what is these all pottery all about. So redware pottery is general ware pottery, meaning for the general purpose. So storage of the grains and then storage of the water and used as utensils then. So these were normally what you see even in the today's time, that these are the general potteries. And how potteries are created? Obviously from the clay. Okay? And clay is from the clay, that wheel made pottery are there, and they, when it is baked into the fire, so general color, the normal color which comes out is the red color. Okay? So that is the red color. Then moreover, the important ones are these: miniature vessels, perforated vessel, fanes, and then one more, polychrome pottery. So polychrome pottery. So let's talk about the miniature vessels. Miniature vessels were ones which were small in size, but then also very narrow. Okay? So not only small, but very narrow, though I'll have to create a little bigger so that you can understand. And narrow neck used to be there in this one, but then they were beautiful, they were decorated with intricate designs done. So some sort of designing may happen in these pottery. So it is indicative of that it is mainly created for the purpose of the decoration or ornamentation. So these were there. Then next one is the perforated vessel. So as far as the perforated vessel is concerned, these used to be big and they were smoky gray in color then, and so used to look like this only, smoky gray in color, and it has many perforations. Okay? So many perforations. And there is a purpose of these all perforation. So now understand. So this particular pottery was mainly used for straining liquor, okay, alcohol. So since the inception of the humanity, the human beings, they know many things, and the many things also include spirits, okay. So the external spirit that they create to keep their internal spirit high, okay. So this is this is for that. Then the Fanes pottery, it was mainly used as household utensils. Okay? So it was mainly used in the household utensils. Then, and what are the household utensils? Bowls. Okay? So now understand that it was made from a particular material. Material का नाम ही है Fanes, which was in bony white color, mainly found from Gujarat. ठीक है? And Gujarat में भी कहाँ से? The stretch between Lothal to Dholavira. So in these area that we find this particular kind of pottery. And out of all the potteries, these used to be little beautiful. So how they were created? So suppose that, as we have mentioned, bony white in color. So the white used to be the normal background color, but then they used to design it better with the other different colors. So for example, that they must be creating some sort of designs over here, and it was a kind of a beautiful pottery. Then last one is the polychrome pottery. Polychrome का मतलब समझ में आता है? What's the meaning of the word polychrome? What is chrome? No idea? What is chrome? Shining or color? Chrome is color. And what is poly? Multicolor. It's as simple as that. हमेशा हर चीज की मीनिंग किताब में पढ़ के नहीं ढूंढनी होती है, दिमाग लगा के भी ढूंढ सकते हो. ठीक है. सो हिंदी पढ़ा है कभी? कुछ लोगों ने पढ़ा है, कुछ ने नहीं पढ़ा है. संधि विच्छेद पढ़ा है? हाँ, तो संधि विच्छेद कर लिया करो अंग्रेजी में भी. You get the meaning then. So polychrome pottery was nothing but the pottery which was in a multicolor was called as polychrome pottery. So likho one by one. So first you mentioned general wear pottery. Subtitle जनरल वेयर पॉटरी. ये कौन है जिसने लिखा है कि सर मुझे देश की रक्षा करनी है? मुझे तो पता है कौन है, बट मैं इज्जत नहीं दे रहा हूं नाम लेके. वेट लिखो. सो मेंशन जनरल वेयर पॉटरी में लिखो. इट वॉज मेनली red in color. It was mainly red in color, and sometimes it was decorated with, black designs. Full stop. Then you mention after it. It was mainly used as utensils and for the storage of grains and water. Then number 2 you write after it. जनरल वेयर के बाद लिखो मिनिएचर वेसल्स. फुल स्टॉप. These were small pottery with narrow elongated neck. It had beautiful designs. And perhaps it was used for ornamentation. Perhaps it was used for ornamentation. Third, you write perforated vessel. Mention perforated में लिखो. It was smoky gray in color. And not completely baked. Full stop. Then mention it was used for straining liquor. Then mention last one. नहीं अभी 2 है. So Fane's pottery. Fane's you write. Fane's लिखो. Fane's is a material in bony white color. Fane's is a material in bony white color, mainly found from mainly found from Lothal and Dholavira. Bony white in color, mainly found from Lothal and Dholavira. Then it was used for making household utensils. Household utensils. Then the last one you write. So heading नहीं ऐसे भी लिख सकते हो, ठीक है? Multicolor potteries were also found. Multicolor potteries were also found, which are referred as polychrome pottery. Which are referred as polychrome pottery. Polychrome pottery. Then which are referred as polychrome pottery. Then after it, so let's come to the next one. After the pottery, let's go to the sculpture part. Sculpture of IBC. So as far as the sculpture is concerned, on the basis of the material which has been used in the creation of the sculpture, there are three types. ठीक है? एक तो stone sculpture, second would be the bronze sculpture, and third would be the terracotta. So terracotta is more important as far as the details are concerned, but then let's start with the stone sculpture. ठीक है? So now understand. So when it comes to the stone sculpture of Indus Valley, it was created from the same stone which was used for creation of the seals, steatite. Then, so it was created from the soft river stone, steatite. And we have very less examples of the stone sculptures. So the less examples include the image of a bearded priest from Mohenjo-daro. So this image was found from एक ही image है, then, and right now it is in the museum in Pakistan. So bearded priest which was found from Mohenjo-daro, and then broken torso also we have found. ठीक है? So broken torso. इसके अलावा और कोई इमेज नहीं है. So very less number of the stone sculptures were there, and they were mainly concentrated in the Mohenjo-daro area itself. ठीक है? So let's have a look at this particular Mohenjo-daro bearded priest. It has similarity with, so just give me 1 minute. So now you can see this image. Okay? So this is the only stone sculpture which is in a good state, which has been found from Indus Valley. So as you can see that bearded priest, and he looks like someone from the contemporary times then, as you know. So now as you can see that he is wearing a headband, okay? And he is also wearing a armband then. And then all this shawl which is there, so this pattern which is created on the shawl, it is called as trefoil pattern shawl. ठीक है? So देखो कुछ बोलने से पहले चाय बनाना स्टार्ट करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? So लिखो mention. Mention. It was created from soft river stone steatite. It was created from soft river stone steatite. Then mention. Not many stone sculptures have been found. Not many stone sculptures have been found. Then full stop. Then mention. The most important example is the sculpture of bearded priest. found from Mohenjo-daro. Found from Mohenjo-daro. Full stop. Priest is wearing a headband. Wearing a headband, comma, an armband, and his shoulders are draped with, D-R-A-P-E-D, draped with trefoil pattern shawl. Trefoil, T-R-E-F-O-I-L, trefoil pattern shawl. Then, so we don't have any other example. This is the ek do hai, that broken torso, but then not many. Then let's come to, after the stone sculpture, the second sculpture that we need to see is bronze one. So bronze sculpture. So bronze sculpture. And as you know that bronze is combination of the copper and tin. Okay? So copper and tin. And moreover, copper was available in India, but tin was mainly sourced from Afghanistan. Okay? Copper India mein bhi tha, and they were getting it from the Oman and Mesopotamia also. So these all places. But then as far as the examples of the bronze sculpture is concerned, it is also very less. Then, so we'll talk about the most famous example, but what was the process of creating the bronze stone? So now, listen, that it was created through lost wax technique. Lost wax technique. And what is this lost wax technique? Is basically, understand that initially what they will be doing in this technique, that first a statue or basically one image will be created from the wax. So any image, suppose that this is the image is to be created. So this image is created from the wax. So this is a wax structure. In the second step, what they will be doing, they will be coating this image with the clay. So this is the outer one is the clay. Now this entire structure would be baked on fire. Then after, the clay which is there, it will become hard, and the wax which is inside, it will melt. This molten wax will be removed, and then copper and tin, it is melted in a separate pot, and this wax which is drained from here, it will be replaced by the bronze. Okay? Once again, they will seal it, they will leave it for 7-8 days, and then after, finally, the outer cover of the clay would be broken, and then bronze sculpture would be there before you. Okay? So finally, when the bronze sculpture is there, so then they will be polishing it from the outside, refining it from the outside. So this is a very important technique even till this date. Then this is followed in the many pockets of India and also in the many pockets of the world. In fact, in the many tribal areas, the bronze casting is done by the lost wax technique only. So for example, there are many GI tag sculptures. GI tag, you understand? That geographical indication which is that gives a speciality or some protection to the items of a particular area. So there is a one GI tag sculpture which is practiced almost everywhere, okay, in almost all the states, and it is practiced in the Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, okay, many places it is practiced, called as dhokra. Okay? So dhokra आज तक के टाइम पे भी it is made from the lost wax technique. So though we have gone into the process of the mechanization where there are machines which can create the bronze sculpture, but still dhokra follows the same technique. So it is followed even till this date. So it also tells you about the know-how or the intelligence of the people of the Indus Valley civilization. So mention, you write, bronze sculpture was created from lost wax technique. लॉस्ट वैक्स टेक्निक, एक फ्रेंच नेम है इसका, यू राइट इट. दिस इज यूज्ड इन एक्चुअली एवरीवेयर. इट्स नॉट जस्ट कि फ्रेंच है इसलिए लिख रहे हैं, ठीक है. तो CIREPERDUE. Just give me 1 minute. If it is not visible, I don't know how to pronounce it. Purdue तो समझ में आता है. Sire Purdue or Serre Purdue. French pronunciation is different. Mention further. As per this technique, a wax figure is created. As per this technique, a wax figure is created which is coated with clay. A wax figure is created which is coated with clay and baked on fire. And baked on fire. Full stop. Then mention molten wax is replaced by molten bronze. Molten wax is replaced by molten bronze and sculpture is left for cooling. Sculpture is left for cooling. In the final step, hardened clay is removed. In the final step, hardened clay is removed. Hardened clay is removed and sculpture is polished and refined. Sculpture is polished and refined. Polished and refined. Then, so example you write, Dancing Girl of Mohenjo-daro. Dancing Girl of Mohenjo-daro. So there are few more examples of this. Okay? There are some animal figures also that has been found, but not in a good state. Then, so Dancing Girl of Mohenjo-daro. Let's see an image if it is there. So wait. So generally what we believe कि जब लिखते वक्त हमें लगता है कि it will be a very big size, ठीक है, but then actually it is not a very big size. It fits in the arm, that this particular palm only. Then so इतना बड़ा ही size है and it is kept in the Delhi Museum also, ठीक है, so you can see it over here, but the original one is in Pakistan, ठीक है. So that's the image. हो गया, देख लिया, ठीक है. Now let's write about the last one. So mention terracotta sculpture. The last is terracotta sculpture. Terracotta sculpture. So now listen, when it comes to terracotta sculpture, so this is derived from the word terrace. And what is terrace? Clay or earth. Terrace का मतलब earth, or in general we can say clay. So basically those figures, those sculptures which are made from the clay are called as terracotta. But then made from clay baked in fire, that is terracotta. So in fact, what is pottery? Pottery is also terracotta. ठीक है? जो दिवाली में दिया use करते हो, earthen diyas. Now there are many inventional diyas done. So earthen diyas are also terracotta. ठीक है? So any such shape which is created from the clay baked on fire will be called as terracotta. But here we are talking about the sculpture. Okay? So terracotta sculpture, the most famous example from this, there were many. Okay? So even the carts were created. Okay? Animal carts. Then even the small birds. Okay? Then animals, their images were also created. But the most important in the terracotta was the image of mother goddess. So image of mother goddess. Now, as far as the mother goddess is concerned, okay? So as far as the mother goddess is concerned, it is the most abundant image found from all the Indus town. It is said that almost all the Indus towns, they had their own version of the mother goddess. ऐसा नहीं कि सब similar हैं, ठीक है? But then they had their own version of the mother goddess. Then, and on the basis of it only, you remember that in the classes when we were writing that how the society of the Indus Valley was like. So we mentioned that कुछ लोग बोलते हैं कि patriarchal है on the basis of the image of the bearded priest, but that was only one image then, and we have found more than 1,000 images of the mother goddess from the different areas. So on the basis of this image, it is said that society was matriarchal in nature. Then, so mother goddess image. Now, so who is mother? Why she is called as a mother goddess? Because the depiction is indicating that she is a mother goddess. Then, so how the depiction is there? So in some of the images, she is depicted as a pregnant lady. Then, so pregnant lady. Then in other images, there are one or two places where the images that we have found, so it is depicted that from her navel point, a plant is emerging. Okay? So nabhi se, so from the navel point, a plant is emerging and slowly it has encircled the body. Then, so meaning that the navel point is the fertile point. So that's why mother goddess is also regarded as the goddess of fertility. In fact, mother goddess concept is not unique to the Indus Valley civilization. In fact, mother goddess concept also used to be there in the oldest civilization. And what is the oldest civilization? Mesopotamia. Okay? So in Mesopotamia also mother goddess concept was there. In Syria also we have found the images of the mother goddess. But हम world history नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, इसलिए we are not writing that part. Then, so it is one common linkage between majority of the civilizations that they all worshipped the mother goddess. So एक बार लिखो, mention. Terracotta sculptures were made from clay which was baked on fire. Then, large number of figures and figurines. Figurines were created in terracotta. Figures and figurines were created in terracotta, which includes images of birds, animals, and bullock carts. Then Belgadi. Then further right, the most abundant image found from Indus Valley towns was the image of mother goddess. Mother goddess. Then mention. She is regarded as goddess of fertility. Then एक और last line add करो, mention. She was depicted in many ways. For example, the most common pattern was the depiction of a pregnant lady. Then full stop, then mention. One of the rare depiction was plant emerging from Naval Point, Navel, not AL. You understand, na? The entire meaning will change. Okay? So we need to be careful. So Naval Point, and slowly encircling the body. Then encircling the body. So एक last line इसमें भी ऐड कर लो, थोड़ी बहुत connectivity बन जाएगी ancient से. So you write, on the basis of image of mother goddess, historians maintained that Indus Valley civilization was perhaps matriarchal in nature. Then, so now the topics that we are left with is basically ornaments and jewelry and the town planning. So town planning we'll be doing in the next class, but before ending the class, I just want to know that if you have any query regarding this subject, so please ask. और reference book भी जो भी पूछना है पूछो, ठीक है? Already I told you from my end that what I'm suggesting for the people who are going for this year, ठीक है? But then if any such question is there from your side. अच्छा चलो, already कुछ लोग कुछ किताबें खरीद चुके हैं. कौन सी? Raise your hands. Who all have purchased? Have you started reading it? पढ़ना स्टार्ट करके खत्म कर दिया? ओहो, गुड लक. ठीक है, चलो. सो नो, नॉट सी दैट कोई भी किताब बुरी नहीं होती है. आई वुड ऑलवेज से दिस थिंग, इट्स ओनली दैट इज इट मैचिंग योर साइक. ठीक है, कि तुम जैसे उसे याद करना चाहते हो वैसे वो तुम्हें सपोर्ट कर रहा है या नहीं कर रहा है. ठीक है, सो दैट यू विल हैव टू फिगर आउट दैट विच बुक इज सपोर्टिव टू यू. एंड सुन लो पैक करने से पहले. सो basically what happens, there is a one tendency within us. Then just listen, tendency within us that what happens that whatever that is written we consider it as a right. Then so whatever that is written we consider as a right, and whatever that has been spoken we see it from ounce of the doubt. So there could be incorrect statement in the written also, and there could be right in the spoken also. So don't take in this way. And good number of the books, ठीक है, in the market, everyone falls in this particular trap that कि कुछ न कुछ errors होते हैं, सब में होते हैं. ठीक है, so you need to be careful in this regard. Then, so if you are purchasing any book, so I know that where I have identified that some faults are there, ठीक है, but then you need to be careful. ठीक है, चलो. So we'll अब कल actually the point is that tomorrow's batch, जिसमें I think last time क्या combined था तुम्हारे साथ 10. So 10 is going with the 2 more batches, and that we'll see that what is the numbers. If it is good, so we'll open this, okay, and you all 4 to 5 batches will be together, okay. So good social gathering would be there. So now I'm thinking to launch a new restaurant, Vision Social. Chalo, bye.